Have you ever opened your mouth to speak English and nothing came out? You knew the word, you studied it, you repeated it yesterday, maybe even this morning, but when the moment arrived, blank, silence, embarrassment. And that small voice in your head whispered, "You're just not good at this." But what if I told you that voice is wrong? You are not forgetting words. Your brain is protecting you, and until you understand why, no amount of studying will fix it. This video is not just about English. It's about identity, emotion, memory, and the invisible habits that are sabotaging your fluency. You'll finally understand what's really happening inside your brain and how to build a memory plus speaking system that brings your words back. Naturally, calmly, consistently. No more panic, no more freezing, just real solutions for real learners, like you, who are tired of watching life move forward while their voice stays stuck. If you're learning English to change your life, then this might be the most important video you've ever watched. He sat in a small cafe, coffee trembling in his hand, eyes staring blankly at the woman in front of him. She had just asked him a simple question in English, something like, "What do you think?" But his mind, empty, not one word. The sentence was inside him, but it vanished, as if someone walked into his brain and erased it on purpose. That moment wasn't about grammar. It was something deeper, something emotional. And from that day on, he stopped calling it a memory problem. He started calling it what it really was, protection. You see, your brain is not your enemy. It's your bodyguard. When you feel exposed, judged, unsafe, it will shut down access to the very words you need. Why? Because speaking a foreign language isn't just about language. It's about identity. And when your identity feels threatened, your nervous system takes over. It says, "Let's freeze, not fail." That's not forgetting, that's emotional survival. And the first sentence to practice is this: "My brain is not broken." Say it out loud, slowly, feel it land. Most English learners think they're stupid or slow when this happens, but what they don't realize is that the words are still there. They're just locked behind a wall called fear of judgment. Think about the moment before you forget. It's rarely peaceful, it's tense. You feel watched, evaluated, exposed. That pressure causes an emotional blackout, and boom, the vocabulary disappears. Now try something. Before your next conversation, describe that feeling in English. "I feel nervous before I speak. I'm scared of sounding wrong." These are not mistakes. They are maps to healing. The real problem isn't forgetting words. It's fearing the moment you need to use them. The pressure to sound fluent becomes heavier than the desire to express truth. So your mind says, "Let's wait." But waiting becomes silence, and silence becomes shame. Let's reverse that. Say one imperfect sentence today, on purpose. No apologies, no corrections, just speak. For example, "Yesterday I go store, I buy, rice." Let it be messy, because fluency is not perfection, it's permission. There comes a moment in every learner's journey when they stop asking, "Why am I forgetting?" and start asking, "What am I afraid of?" That shift changes everything. When this young man in the cafe realized that his fear of looking stupid was stronger than his desire to communicate, he felt both broken and free, because now he had power. He could work on the real issue, and you can too. Try this. For 20 seconds today, just talk. Even if you pause, even if you repeat, even if it feels weird. What he learned next wasn't in a textbook. It was in his body. He noticed that when he spoke without pressure, the words returned. Not all of them, but enough. His brain no longer had to protect him, because he wasn't attacking himself with judgment. He was listening, he was present, and his language came back like an old friend who'd just been waiting to be invited in. That's when the memory started to feel safe again. Not perfect, but safe, and that was everything. The final key is this: liberation begins when you speak anyway. Even if the sentence is broken, even if you forget midway, even if you get lost. Keep going. Say it out loud. Pause. Breathe. Then continue, because your brain will not trust a system that punishes mistakes, but it will trust a voice that says, "It's okay, just try." So try this tonight. Set a timer for 20 seconds. Say whatever comes to mind. Don't plan it. Don't correct it. Just speak. The moment you stop hiding is the moment your memory comes back home. And yet many people continue to repeat behaviors that guarantee forgetting. Not because they want to forget, but because they don't realize they're doing exactly what makes memory disappear. If your goal is to stay stuck forever, I have the perfect recipe for you. First, try to speak fast, really fast. Try to sound fluent, even if you're drowning inside. The result? Instant panic. Your mouth will trip, your memory will freeze, and your confidence gone. Congratulations, you've just guaranteed forgetting. But if you're ready to change, start with this. Slow down by 30%. Speak as if every word matters, because it does. Still want to sabotage your memory? Easy. Translate every sentence in your head before speaking. Think in your native language first, and try to build English like Lego blocks, piece by painful piece. Watch how the stress builds. Watch how the words vanish. But hey, that's the goal, right? If you're tired of that mental chaos, try this instead. Describe one object around you using only English. For example, this is a chair. It's black. It's soft. I sit here. Simple, direct, effective. Next behavior. One of the most powerful if you want to fail. Study random words with no context. Open a vocabulary app and memorize enthusiastic, predictable, monarchy, thermometer, just for fun. Don't use them in real life. Don't connect them to anything meaningful, and watch how they all vanish by tomorrow. Or, and hear me out, learn inside a story. Take one sentence from a show you like, break it down, feel the emotion. Context is not a bonus, it's the bridge. Another great trick if you want to hesitate forever. Obsess over perfect grammar. Before saying a word, ask yourself, is this the correct verb tense? What's the proper structure? Should I use present perfect or past perfect continuous? By the time you finish thinking, the conversation is already over. If this is your method, well done. But if you'd prefer to actually speak, try something revolutionary. Prioritize clarity, not perfection. Say, yesterday I go gym. It good. Guess what? You communicated. And that's the real win. Let's be honest. Deep down, most learners aren't afraid of forgetting vocabulary. They're afraid of being seen, afraid of embarrassment. That fear fuels all these behaviors. Speaking fast, translating, memorizing lists, obsessing over grammar. These are not learning strategies. They are protection strategies. But here's the paradox. The more you protect yourself from mistakes, the more mistakes control you. Now let's imagine the opposite path. What would it look like to intentionally slow down, to pause between thoughts, to speak simply, not perfectly? That's when the fear starts to loosen. That's when memory has space to breathe. If you truly want to remember more words, you must first create emotional safety. Not just mental technique, emotional safety. And that begins with how you treat your own mistakes. So here's what I suggest. Start replacing destructive habits with mindful rituals. Before every speaking session, take a deep breath. Speak one sentence slowly. Don't translate. Don't aim for perfect structure. Aim for presence. Then connect what you're saying to a story. Something real, something alive. Don't chase 100 new words. Learn 5 that you'll never forget because you felt them, because they mattered. And as your system changes, your memory starts working with you, not against you. But that change only begins when you stop using methods that were never designed for fluency. Because if you keep practicing like someone who wants to forget, your brain will obey. But if you start practicing like someone who is finally ready to speak, even imperfectly, your brain will listen, and it will remember. The next story proves this in a way you might never forget. Every morning, she sat by the window, sipping tea, watching the same English videos again and again. She understood them completely, but when it was her turn to speak, Silence. Her mind went blank at the exact moment she needed the words most. She whispered to herself, "Maybe my memory just isn't good." But she was wrong. It wasn't her memory. It was her system. A system built on stress, not on understanding. You see, stress isn't just emotional. It's neurological. When she sat in front of her computer, trying to recall simple words like recommend or arrive, her heart would race. Her shoulders would tense, and her brain, sensing danger, would shut down memory retrieval. It didn't matter how many hours she studied, because nothing sticks when the body is in panic. If you're experiencing this too, pause. Say this gently. Stress blocks memory faster than lack of study. Let that truth land. One evening, frustrated, she changed her approach. She stopped memorizing word lists and started reading short dialogues from graded readers. She focused on natural conversations, 4 to 6 lines at a time. She read them slowly, then aloud, then again with feeling. Something shifted. The words felt alive. They weren't just isolated sounds. They were part of her now. If you're ready to try this, pick a short dialogue and shadow it. Feel the rhythm. Let the sentence live in your body. Then came the moment that changed everything. She was speaking with a friend, and he asked, "How was your weekend?" She didn't plan her answer. She just spoke. "I visited my cousin. We made pizza. It was fun." No translation, no panic, no blackout. Later she realized she hadn't forgotten the words. She had just been overloading her brain with too much at once. The pressure to remember everything had been stealing her fluency. So she stopped and started speaking in short phrases only, like, "It was good. I liked it. Not too busy." Try that now. Keep it short. Keep it alive. Over the next few weeks, she created a simple daily practice. She recorded herself answering one question every day, just for 30 seconds. No grammar obsession, no vocabulary lists, just real-life sentences. "I woke up late today. My coffee was cold. I'm tired but trying." This ritual became her mirror. She watched her pauses. She noticed her patterns, and slowly her voice became steady. The forgetting, almost gone, because her brain wasn't being attacked. It was being supported. The moment her memory began stabilizing wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. She noticed she no longer needed to remember the word because. It just came. She didn't search for the word usually. Her mouth said it automatically. That's what happens when speaking and memory stop competing and start cooperating. Want to feel that too? Shadow 1 minute of natural dialogue today. Don't memorize. Just copy the rhythm. Let your mouth become fluent before your mind tries to take control. And something else happened. People started noticing, not that she sounded perfect, but that she sounded present, calm, clear, connected. One colleague even said, "Your English sounds more natural now." She smiled, not because of the compliment, but because of what it meant. Her system was working. She had replaced panic with practice, stress with repetition, fear with flow. But the real shift? It wasn't just in her words, it was in her identity. She no longer said, "I have a bad memory." She said, "I'm building a memory system that works for me." And that belief changed everything, because she finally understood the brain doesn't store words the way we think. It stores them the way we feel them. And that realization, that was just the beginning of a much deeper psychological truth. Let's break something most learners never hear. You're not bad at English. Your brain is overwhelmed. Imagine trying to walk while juggling 5 balls and solving a math problem. That's what happens inside your mind when you try to speak in English while translating, analyzing, checking grammar, choosing vocabulary, and managing fear, all at the same time. The result? Your working memory collapses. You don't forget the words. Your brain simply drops the task. So start here. Speak in small, simple chunks. "I'm tired today. I watched a movie." Give your brain room to breathe. Working memory is like a mental backpack. When it's full, even one extra thought makes everything spill, and fear fills that backpack fast. Here's the science. When your nervous system senses embarrassment, it sends signals to shut down complex functions, like language retrieval. Your brain protects you by freezing. It's not a weakness, it's a design. So next time you panic mid-sentence, say, "Mistakes are safe." Whisper it. Say it out loud. Let your nervous system hear it. Because that sentence is more powerful than any grammar rule. Now let's talk about the invisible enemy. Your internal critic, the voice inside that says, "You sound stupid. Your accent is terrible. They're judging you." That voice isn't harmless. It hijacks the same brain pathways used for language. Self-judgment literally competes with word recall. So before speaking, try this. Reduce internal criticism for 10 seconds. Take a breath. Say, "I'm allowed to speak like a learner." Imagine speaking to a kind child, learning their first words. That child is you. Here's a practical shift. Instead of starting every English answer with panic, start with a safety phrase, something your brain doesn't need to search for. Examples. Well, I think, maybe. These are memory unlockers. They create momentum, because once your mouth starts moving, your brain joins. The worst memory block is not knowing. It's freezing, and freezing happens in silence. So break the silence with something easy, and let's address shame. Yes, shame, the quiet emotion that makes your body tense before you even open your mouth. Most English learners don't fear words. They fear exposure. They fear the moment when someone notices they aren't fluent. That shame isn't just emotional, it's neurological. It activates the amygdala, the fear center, which shuts down the hippocampus, the memory center. Translation: fear literally turns off access to vocabulary. That's why creating emotional safety is the foundation of fluency. So what do you do in real life? Before speaking, pause. Drop your shoulders, take one slow breath, then speak a phrase you know 100%, even if it's basic, like, "It's okay," or "Let me think." These phrases are like keys. They open the door. They tell your brain, "We're safe here." And when your brain feels safe, the words come back. Not always perfectly, but consistently. I want you to understand this on a deep level. Your fluency is not just a language issue. It's a nervous system issue. If your brain feels under attack, it cannot perform. So train like a performer, not a perfectionist. Actors rehearse lines in safe spaces. Musicians make mistakes in private. You must create the same space for your English voice. Practice calmly. Speak imperfectly. Celebrate pauses. Every time you do that, you teach your brain that speaking English is not a danger zone. And now you're ready for something bigger, because if this is how the brain reacts to fear, what does that say about your identity? What if forgetting words isn't failure, but a signal that the version of you speaking English is not yet fully you? Did you enjoy the content and it made a difference for you? Click on Super Thanks and support our work. There are 2 versions of you. The one in your native language, confident, expressive, full of life, and the one in English, hesitant, careful, afraid of being exposed, same mind, same heart, but different identity. This is not about memory. This is about mismatch. Your English self is underdeveloped, not because you're broken, but because you've never given it space to grow. Today, try this. Describe your English self in 3 adjectives. Be honest. Then ask, do I want to stay that way? Most people don't realize this. Memory is not blocked by difficulty. It's blocked by identity conflict. If deep down you believe speaking English makes you look less intelligent, your brain will fight you. That belief is a virus. It runs in the background and corrupts your memory system. You could know 5,000 words and still freeze because you don't feel safe being seen as imperfect. Write this now. In English, my intelligence is not defined by my accent. Feel that truth in your bones. Think of the last time you spoke English and felt free. Maybe it was in front of someone kind, or in a moment where you didn't care. That freedom didn't come from your vocabulary. It came from courage, the courage to exist without performing. That's when fluency begins, not when you master grammar, but when you accept visibility. Say this now: I give myself permission to be seen even when I'm not perfect. That sentence could unlock your entire voice. This is the turning point most people never reach, the shift from protecting your image to expressing your truth. And when that happens, your memory improves. Why? Because the pressure disappears. You are no longer performing. You are existing. You're not trying to speak correctly. You're trying to connect. That change rewires your nervous system, and suddenly you're not forgetting words anymore. You're choosing clarity over performance. Let's take it deeper. Your English voice is a version of you that's still learning how to be alive. It needs kindness. It needs space. It needs repetition without judgment. When you constantly attack yourself, why do I sound like this? Why can't I speak better? You're not training a new identity, you're suffocating it. So speak a vulnerable sentence today. Something like, I'm still learning, but I'm trying. That small truth is louder than 100 perfect phrases, and something incredible happens when you stop hiding. Your words return, not because you're smarter, but because your body relaxes, your nervous system opens the gates, and your language flows through. Slowly, honestly, with pauses, with mistakes, but with power. That's the moment your English starts sounding like you, not like a textbook, not like a robot, like you, alive, expressive, imperfect, human. The most fluent people are not the ones who studied the most. They are the ones who allowed themselves to speak with honesty, even when it wasn't beautiful, even when it was broken. They replaced the goal of sounding intelligent with the goal of being real. And that realness made their memory come back. That realness made their sentences stronger. That realness became their new voice. But here's where it gets even more profound. The brain doesn't change without new behavior. So if your identity is ready for an upgrade, your actions must follow. Today, speak slowly with intention. Let every word have weight. Don't rush. Don't prove. Don't perform. Just speak, like someone who's becoming who they were meant to be in this new language. And if that's true, then maybe the fastest way to remember words isn't what you think. Most people try to remember English words by staring at them, reading them, highlighting them, over and over again. But science says something different, and surprisingly simple. If you want to remember a word, say it out loud. This is called the production effect. Words you speak live longer in your brain than words you read silently. So today, don't just study. Say 5 lines out loud. Let the sound carve them into your memory like footsteps in wet cement. Think about this. Every time you retrieve a word, even if you struggle, you build a stronger memory path. This is called the retrieval repetition loop. Your brain treats it like exercise. The more you recall under pressure, the more durable the memory becomes. So instead of saying, I forgot the word, try saying the word 5 times throughout your day. Just one word. For example, confused. Morning. I feel confused. Afternoon. This part is confusing. Evening. Confusion is normal. Now the word is yours. Why does this work so well? Because your brain doesn't store words as cold data. It stores them in emotional and sensory context. This is the context binding principle. The word happy isn't just remembered because it's a word. It's remembered because it connects to a feeling, a face, a moment. That's why learning vocabulary through stories is 10 times more effective than lists. So today, pick 3 new words and write a mini story using them. Let the story carry the words like a river carries stones. Now let's talk about fluency rhythm, the holy grail of memory. When you shadow natural English, listening and repeating at the same time, you're syncing your brain, mouth, and memory. This practice moves vocabulary from short-term memory into your automatic system. Think of it like training your brain to play music. You don't memorize notes, you internalize patterns. Do this. Shadow 60 seconds of a podcast, movie, or story. Copy tone, rhythm, pauses. Your fluency doesn't grow from thinking, it grows from syncing. You've probably felt it before. You memorized a list and forgot it a week later. But the lyrics of a song you never studied? Still there. Why? Because repetition plus sound plus emotion, cast retention. That's how the human brain was designed to learn. Language was never meant to be memorized in silence. It was meant to be spoken, repeated, played with, lived. So instead of saying study, start saying train. Train your ears, train your mouth, train your memory through movement, not stillness. Here's something few teachers tell you. Your mouth is part of your memory system. When you speak a word, your lips, tongue, and breath encode it differently than when you just read it. This is why silent learners often struggle to recall. Their brain has stored the word, but their mouth has never touched it. So the retrieval process breaks. Fix it like this. Every day, choose one sentence you like and say it out loud 10 times. Not just once. 10. With rhythm, with feeling. Let your mouth memorize it. You might say, "But I sound weird," or "My accent is too strong." Let me tell you something that might change your mindset forever. Pronunciation doesn't block fluency. Silence does. You don't need to sound perfect to remember. You need to engage your speaking system. Every time you repeat a word, you deepen the neural path. Every time you shadow a phrase, you synchronize with fluency. You are not just speaking, you are rewiring your brain. So if you want to remember more, speak more, not just in conversations, in practice, in your room, in the shower, in front of the mirror. Your brain remembers what it hears from you more than what it reads, because sound, repetition, and speaking create real memory. And as you begin doing this consistently, something magical starts to happen. Words stop hiding. They start showing up, right when you need them. But there's still one more key to unlock fluency. A memory plus speaking system that makes this automatic. Something shifted. At first it was barely noticeable. She still paused, still searched for words. But the pauses started to feel natural, not panicked, not frozen, just quiet space, like someone thinking, not someone drowning. That's what a memory plus speaking system does. It teaches your brain that silence is not danger. It's part of fluency. Want to experience that? Start speaking slowly, with natural breathing. Not rushed, not robotic. Breathe between phrases like you're telling a story. Soon, the retrieval process got faster. Words that once felt buried began rising on their own. Why? Because her brain wasn't in survival mode anymore. She had trained it, daily, to expect language, not fear it. And with each repetition, with each voice note, each 30-second speaking session, her mind became a partner, not a battlefield. If you want to feel that, try this. Answer one simple English question instantly, even with just 3 words. Don't wait for perfection. Just respond. It wasn't just about remembering vocabulary. It was the way she spoke, calm, measured, grounded. People noticed. One co-worker said, "You sound more confident lately." But it wasn't confidence from achievement. It was confidence from alignment. She wasn't pretending to be fluent. She was becoming fluent by being herself in English. Want that feeling? Then have a calm English conversation today. Don't try to impress. Just express. Her conversations used to be landmines of hesitation. Now they were bridges. Not because she learned 500 new words, but because she used 50 of them repeatedly. This is fluency, not complexity, clarity. And with that clarity came something unexpected, opportunity, more interviews, more trust, more invitations. Because fluent memory doesn't just change your language, it changes your life. So ask yourself, where in your life could English open new doors? Now take it there. And something else happened. Quietly, gradually, she began to trust her voice. She no longer rehearsed every word in her head before speaking. She knew the sentence would form, maybe not perfectly, but truthfully. That trust gave her power, power to speak in meetings, power to reply without shrinking, power to ask for what she wanted, because her fluency was no longer performance, it was presence. If you're still wondering, will I ever speak fluently? This is the answer. Not a yes, not a no, but a system. Speaking plus memory, practice plus patience, shadowing plus emotion. You don't reach fluency by accident, you build it day by day, word by word. You speak to remember, and you remember to speak. It's a cycle, a rhythm, a ritual, and once it starts flowing, it feeds itself. Remember, your brain loves systems. When you repeat something the same way each day, it stops resisting. It starts assisting. So give it structure. Wake up and record 30 seconds. Shadow 1 minute. Speak out loud while you cook. Build rituals, not pressure. Fluency is not a talent. It's a training pattern. And every day you follow it, you are reprogramming your identity. But the final breakthrough comes when you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What's wrong with my system?" Because that's the moment you stop blaming yourself and start building fluency with intention. "Why do I forget?" she asked herself one night, staring at the ceiling. The day had been frustrating. She tried to speak again, and again her words disappeared like smoke. But this time she didn't cry. She got curious, and she heard a quiet truth rise from within. Because fear interrupts recall, not because I lack talent. She sat up, took a breath, and said it out loud. Fear doesn't control my memory. That was the beginning of everything. We grow up thinking intelligence is fixed, that memory is a gift, that fluency is for those people. But all of that is a lie. What truly changes everything isn't motivation, it's routine. She built a new habit, one so simple, yet so powerful. Every day, no matter what, she spoke for 60 seconds without stopping. It didn't matter if she made mistakes. It didn't matter if she repeated words. What mattered was she spoke. And in those daily 60 seconds, her brain learned, we are safe here. Her old identity started fading. The one that whispered, you're not good at this. The one that shrunk in silence. A new voice emerged. Not perfect, but steady. She realized she wasn't becoming someone else. She was becoming herself, in English. And every time she spoke, even a short phrase, she strengthened that voice. Try this right now. Say, my words come back to me. Let it become your new inner belief. The most powerful transformations don't feel dramatic. They feel real. One evening, after dinner, she opened her voice note app and recorded a simple message. Today I was tired, but I still practiced. I'm proud of that. That recording was more than a practice. It was a declaration, a small, quiet celebration of persistence. Want to do the same? Tonight, before bed, record a 1-minute word recall voice note. No script, just speak. Whatever comes out is exactly enough. This is how fluency begins to live in your bones. Not with pressure, not with fear, but with consistent, small proof that your brain and your voice can work together. You stop trying to remember every word. You start creating daily situations where words come back naturally. You stop blaming yourself. You start refining your system. And suddenly, fluency is no longer a dream. It's a process, one you now control. So the next time you forget a word, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask instead, what was happening in my body? Was I rushing? Was I nervous? Was I trying to sound perfect? That shift in question, from shame to curiosity, is where fluency grows. It's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing what stops you and gently stepping around it. And here's the final piece of truth. No fluent speaker ever became fluent by chasing words. They became fluent by building systems, shadowing consistently, speaking out loud daily, reflecting in voice notes, repeating key phrases, letting imperfection breathe. If you do that, truly do that, your brain will trust you, your memory will return, your words will find their way home. And that voice inside, the one you've been waiting for, will no longer be a whisper. It will be your real voice. Clear, grounded, free. So now let me ask you, how many moments have passed where you stayed silent? Not because you didn't know the word, but because you were afraid it wouldn't come out right. How many times have you watched others speak freely while you stayed trapped in your head, thinking, why can't I do that too? This isn't just about English. It's about reclaiming your voice and your future. You've learned today that memory doesn't fail because you're lazy. It fails because your system is broken. And now, you know how to rebuild it. You don't need to study harder. You need to speak smarter. Create daily rituals. Use your voice even when it shakes. Shadow, breathe, repeat, reflect, and little by little, your words will return, not with fear, but with freedom. So now I ask you, which version of you are you building in English? The one who waits for permission, or the one who builds their voice every single day? Leave a comment below and tell me, what part of today's story spoke to you the most? What will you do differently from now on? If you're ready to transform the way you speak and the way you live, subscribe to this channel, click the like button, turn on notifications, and keep coming back to these stories, because here, English is more than a language. It's the tool for the life you actually want to live.